It's dangerous to be right when the government is wrong. Now, let me hold up this piece of paper right here. See what that says right there? Do not steal from or harm, fill in the blank. If there's a piece of paper that was authorized by 535 people that just said this right here. 535 people that just said this right here. I got reverb here. All right, so if you have 535 people, that represents the people in the Senate and the House in Congress. 535 people said, do not harm, do not steal from and harm, fill in the blank. And that fill in the blank would be you. If you have a power-hungry psychopath who doesn't care what this says, it's just a piece of paper to him. He's going to violate your rights, whether it says that or not. Now, I say that because basically that's what the Constitution says. And I want to stay with the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights. The Constitution is basically your shield to guard you from somebody who would want to trample on your rights, who would want to steal from you, who would want to harm you. And we're going to talk specifically about the Fourth Amendment today and the 10th Amendment, because I don't know if you guys ever watched Schoolhouse Rock when you were a kid, but one thing that jumps out at me at Schoolhouse Rock is there were these block letters that says knowledge is power. And that's true, because a lot of people who want to take your rights from you want to capitalize on your ignorance. If you're ignorant of what your rights really are under the Constitution, you're pretty much SOL. You're way out of luck. Now, if you know your rights and you don't know how to exercise them, you can also be out of luck, because you got to be careful how you handle the truth. It's sad. In this day and age, you should just be able to say, hey, the Constitution says this, boom. Okay, so you're violating the Constitution. And that's why I like cameras, multiple cameras from multiple different angles. And it's best if you get pulled over by a cop, just like I said in my last video, to do it on like a live stream, so it can be uploading to the cloud, so that if they do take your camera from you, hey, it's already up on the cloud. There's nothing they can do about it. And so what that does is that makes the cop aware that you're not the only person that's watching this cop's actions. You potentially have millions of people watching this cop's actions, and that right there stops some people. Some people don't care. They're so power hungry and thirsty and drunk on their own monopolized force and power that that's not going to stop them. Nothing you can say, nothing you can do. They could have a whole arena of people. They could be in the center of that football stadium, an 80,000 capacity crowd watching these people, and they're still going to do that. And it's not likely that they would. It's more likely that they would violate your rights if there was no camera rolling, if there were no witnesses around. And so that's why it's so important. That's why I like what San Joaquin Valley Transparency, when he checks in, he's always saying, hey, film the police. Film the police. Dang right, you better film the police. Who doesn't have a video camera these days? Virtually all of our cell phones have video cameras. You can get a GoPro with one of those little adjustable deals. You can put it on your visor, have that thing ready to go, always charged up. You can get your own body cam like the cops have. You can have multiple angle views. Like there's this one guy, I don't know if he's still doing videos, but he would do the border checkpoint audits, and he would have GoPros mounted all over his vehicle. He'd have behind shots and front shots, side mirror shots, interior shots. So you can do a lot to mitigate any kind of law enforcement damage. And somebody asked me today, he's like, why is it that every other video you post is about law enforcement and condemning law enforcement? It's not so much I'm condemning law enforcement. I'm condemning the actions of individuals who think they have a higher claim over the life and property of other individuals, to the extent where, these law enforcers, if they had anybody in their life that they actually loved and cared about, like a mom or a brother or a wife or a sister, anybody that they could care about, that cop would not want the actions that he's doing to you to be done to one of his loved ones, if he was being honest. Now, he could be totally narcissistic and psychopathic and be like, man, I don't care what you do with my mom. I don't care what you do to my wife or my sister or my brother or my dad. Go ahead. I'm just executing the law, and you broke the law, buddy. As far as I'm concerned, you're going down. You're going down to the state. We're going to put you in handcuffs and throw you in a cage. And I'd want the same done for my mom. She broke the law too. So, you got your psychopaths every now and then that are pure psychopaths. They don't care about anybody but themselves and being drunk on their own power and enforcing their own will on others. But for the most part, I think people still have a little bit of humanity left, and that's what I try to appeal to when I talk about this. So somebody was criticizing me for, it's like almost every other upload, you're talking about law enforcement. It's about standing up for our rights and us all to getting together and stop being so divided. Now, if there is I don't mind true division. True division is I will divide from somebody if they're not going to stand on truth. I'll divide from somebody if they think they can violate your rights. I'll divide away from somebody, and it's no skin off my nose to divide from somebody who's not going to exercise basic human compassion toward another human being, violating somebody else's rights. That's proper division. The division, the distraction, deception, and division always talking about with mainstream media and government sources like the political parasites is this division based on quote unquote law, or this division based on lies and just outright deception. You don't want to be divided on that kind of stuff. They're using deception and distraction to divide us. They're not using truth. Truth is naturally divisive. If you go on the road of truth, just plan on traveling that road alone for a long, long time. Plan on being criticized by a whole bunch of people, even the people closest to you that you love in your life. Truth is a lonely road, and if you attach yourself to it, it's life can tend not to be so kind to you as far as other relationships. So when I talk about division, I'm talking about this division based on the distraction and deception of mainstream media and politics, which is all based on a lie. Division over a lie, you don't want to be divided because somebody lied to you. You don't mind being divided if you're holding fast to the truth. And if at any point somebody thinks they have the truth and you're against the truth, then you maintain a posture of correction. You're just going to correct yourself. So back to the Schoolhouse Rock, they say now knowledge is power. It's true. You want knowledge about what the laws of the land are. And the reason I use laws, and I know we know what laws are. They're just the opinions of politicians backed by the threat of force. That's all it is. There's no legitimacy to any man sitting down and scribbling on a piece of paper, you can't drink alcohol, you can't sell alcohol, you can't buy alcohol, you can't smoke weed, you can't have a certain amount of marijuana in your car or in your house. Those are bogus laws. Those are the antithesis of natural law. As a matter of fact, it's out of harmony and out of step and out of balance with natural law, and that's what makes it wrong. Because most man-made laws are based on just immorality. Total immorality, gross immorality, because it's against natural law, and it's against do to others what you would want done to you, and it's against don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. So that's why I'm against it. And the reason I bring law enforcement into it a lot is because can you think of another entity, human beings who think that guns and costumes grant special rights that are in your neck of the woods? Unless you're living out in the boonies somewhere where there's nobody else around, or in the tundra, there's somebody around you that has a uniform badge and a gun, and they think they have a higher claim over your life and property than you. That's why I deal with it a lot, because we have to deal with it every single day. And it's good to have information. I want to get information out there that helps people so that when they have that next encounter with law enforcement, and your day is coming, it will come, you know how to talk to them and you know what to say, because you have to use wisdom in how you deal with the knowledge that you have. And that's exactly what wisdom is. It's putting knowledge into action, the appropriate action for that appropriate time in that appropriate moment. That's what wisdom is, just the exercise of that knowledge that you already have rattling around in your head. You just got to put it together so that you don't, like I said, it's dangerous to be wrong when the government is it's dangerous to be right when the government is so wrong, and they are so wrong so many times, and it's not for our benefit. It actually leads to our demise, and sometimes, Philando Castile, Daniel Shaver, it leads to their destruction. James Boyd was that guy that was shot in I think it was Mesa. Was it Mesa? It was somewhere in Arizona. He was a homeless guy, and they hit him with the AR-15 3 times after they unleashed the dog on him, killed him dead right there. Daniel Shaver in the hallway of the La Quinta Inn in Mesa, Arizona, shot dead right there with 5 armed enforcers right there. Didn't do anything wrong. He just slipped, just trying to pull up his shorts. Boom, 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 dead. Philip Brailsford gets acquitted. Or Philando Castile. Do you have a permit to carry that? Yeah, he's going for the permit. Boom, 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 boom. The cop just freaks out. Sometimes you don't have a chance. And you could be on the right side of even the law that the law enforcers are trying to enforce, and you end up dead, or you end up in a cage, or you end up fined. And it's very sad. That's why I like that last video that one guy did. What's his name? Paul Barger. I don't like the fact that he gave away so much information. I like some of your comments under that video. He talked way too much. He answered way too many questions. You don't have to answer law enforcement questions. You don't have to. Yeah, according to their law, you got to give your ID, your proof of insurance, and your registration and all that kind of stuff according to their law. And if you don't, you're going to get your vehicle impounded. Not fun. You're going to get your ass thrown in jail when you really didn't have to. But basically, when they're coming up to your car, they're doing no different than the Nazis did in the 1940s. Show me your papers. Where are your papers? We need your papers. Give me your ideas. Show me your papers. Give me your registrations. Give me your papers. Give me your proof of insurances. Give me your papers. Show me your private information. We got to make sure you check out. We got to make sure you're following the state. We got to make sure you're following the law. So that's why I titled this video what I did. If you still think this is the land of the free, you need to take some smelling salts and wake up. This is not the land of the free and home of the brave. This is the land of the fee and home of the slave, and we can demonstrate that every single day in our lives. That's why I like YouTube. That's why I love the internet, because it exposes what's going on around you. Used to be, if you want to find out this kind of information, you really couldn't even go into your local library. You even go to the Library of Congress, you couldn't get the ready information that you got with the internet right now. That's why they're trying to ratchet it down. That's why they're trying to initiate all these layers and layers of censorship, what you can and can't say, what you can and can't post. What groups you can identify with. Are you going to be on a terrorist watch list? Hey, he's on the no-fly list now. Better put that guy in the red flag law. Hey, TAPS Act coming for this guy. The Threat Assessment Protection and Safety Act. Yeah, they're going to keep you real safe by violating your Fourth Amendment rights. How's that going to work out for us? Not good, not good at all. So we are not in the land of the free, the home of the brave. It's the land of the fee and home of the slave. And remember, and I'm going to drive this point home. There is two main purposes for laws. Number one, and they're demonstratable, guys. You can demonstrate this. This is all objective. You can see it. A law transfers power from the people, and it shouldn't be like that according to the Constitution. The power should rest in the lap of the people according to the Constitution. And even parts of the Constitution, it takes that power away from the laps of the people and puts it in Congress. For example, Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes. In other words, these 535 in this special place called Congress, in this church called the state, has the power to plunder you. No, don't think so. I think that's against natural law. As a matter of fact, I know it's against natural law, because none of those politicians would want to be plundered or have their family members plundered without their consent and against their will. They would not want that. So that right there, if it violates I'll go over the super chats at the end, guys. I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Thank you very much. If it violates the golden rule, you don't need the Constitution. You just need the golden rule, and everybody knows. You don't even need a Bible to know what the golden rule is. Do to others what you would want done to you. Conversely, don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. Everybody inherently knows that, and if they say, no, I resist that, then they're liars. They do not want to be asleep at night. I guarantee you. They do not want to be asleep tonight at night at 2:30 in the morning and have their door broken in by a bunch of armed invaders with SWAT on their chests. They don't want that. They wouldn't want that done to them. If they're telling you they would want that done, they're either psychopaths, clinically insane, or they're just lying to you. So we know that if anything violates you don't need the Constitution. You don't need a holy book to know that the golden rule stands. The golden rule transcends everything in humanity, and it applies to all humans at all times in all areas. For all of time, for as long as humanity goes, from beginning to end, it's never right to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong. Everybody inherently knows this, everybody. And I don't care who violates that. I don't care what kind of fancy hat they have. I don't care how long that title is at the beginning of their name. I don't care how fancy the plaque is on their door. I don't care what nice looking uniform or how shiny that badge is on their chest, or the fact that they have a Kevlar vest on and they're coming with the authority of the state. If they violate the golden rule, they are doing that which is inherently illegitimate. Change my mind. Prove me wrong. If I'm wrong, I will submit to the correction. But if they violate that, you don't need the Second Amendment. You don't need the First Amendment. You don't need the Fourth Amendment. You don't need the 10th Amendment. You don't need the Bill of Rights. You don't need the Constitution. You don't need the Quran. You don't need the Bible. You don't need any of that to know that that is just right. It's inherently true. It's demonstrably provable. It's absolutely objective. Anybody who resists it is just a liar or just a psychopath. He's escaped from the asylum and you just don't know it yet. Period. That's all you need. So when you see these cop stops where these cops are asking all these questions where they have no business getting the answer to, you know they've violated the golden rule. And that's why I constantly tell you that quote from Lysander Spooner. He says, whether the Constitution be one thing or another, this much is certain. It has either authorized such a government as we've had, or it's been powerless to prevent it. So that's why I held up this piece of paper that I just dropped on the floor. So if this piece of paper says this right here, do not harm, do not steal from somebody or harm them. And if it is incapable of stopping the evil that's going to come against you, it's incapable of stopping somebody from stealing from you. This is incapable of stopping from somebody coming in and harming you. Then what good is it? It didn't authorize that harm to come at you, but it was also powerless to keep that harm from coming to you. So to hide behind the Constitution and say, hey, we have freedoms because it's Constitution, that's not even right. Even the founders would have told you that's not right. The reason they wrote down what the Constitution says is because they looked at natural law and they go, oh, well, that fits. We're just gonna articulate here on this parchment what we know to be true. You have the right to say whatever you want to, whenever you want to say it. You have a right to freedom of religion. It's pretty obvious. You have the right to protect yourself by any means possible. That's the First and Second Amendments now. You have the right to free speech, First Amendment. You have the right to defend yourself by any means necessary. You have the right to keep and bear arms, and that right shall not be infringed. Why shall it not be infringed? Because you don't have the power to infringe on somebody else's right to defend themselves. It's just it's inherent to humanity. Nobody has the right to tell you you can't have an AR-15. Nobody has the right to tell you can't have an M60 if you want it. Oh, do you want an RPG? As long as you're not harming or threatening to harm anybody unjustly, you can have an RPG. There is no limit on the Second Amendment. I'm sick of people coming along, even people who say they're for the Second Amendment. There's no limit on the Second. How about nukes? Yeah, sure. If you can afford them and you can do the enriched uranium and you can do the rods and all that stuff that it takes to get, uranium-23 or whatever it is, go for it. As long as you're not harming or threatening to harm somebody else, you can have whatever. Nukes, you're just freaking crazy. No, the crazy people are the ones who say you can't, we don't allow you to have this pen because this pen is sharp and you could pose a danger to yourself and others. So we've mandated that you can't have this pen. You can't have this water bottle because when it's full and you have a full gallon in there, that's 8.34 pounds, and you could hurl that at somebody or throw it off a bridge or somebody, break somebody's windshield and kill a whole family. We can't let you have that. There's all sorts of reasons people make laws, and it's always for necessity. Remember what William the Younger said? Necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedoms. It's the argument of tyrants, because it always works for tyrants, and it's the creed of slaves, because the creed of slaves, the slaves are using that creed because they're telling the tyrants, please keep us safe at all costs. You must keep us safe. And the tyrants are going, yeah, we got to keep you safe. I mean, it's necessary, totally necessary. So the tyrants love it, and the slaves who are checked out love it because they think they're getting safety when they're really not. And that brings us back to Benjamin Franklin. If anybody, I don't care who it is. I don't care what the color of your skin is. I don't care what your creed is. I don't care where you come from. I don't care where you're going. If you give up a little essential liberty, if you give up just the tiniest amount of essential liberty for just a little bit of promised political security, and that's just stupid all by itself because they're lying to you. They can't provide you with any security. When seconds count, police are minutes away. The police department in your own town, they could be right down the street from you, half a mile. And when those seconds count, they are of no count. So you give away a little bit of essential liberty just for that little promised political lying security. You deserve neither liberty nor security. I totally agree with Benjamin Franklin on that. Was he a Mason? Yeah, people are like, yeah, you're always quoting Benjamin Franklin. He was a Mason. He could have been Satan himself. It's still true. It doesn't matter. You know that George Washington and all those founding fathers were Masons? Probably, and that's pretty wicked because Masons have some pretty nefarious plans going on there with all their secret meetings and secret proceedings that JFK talked about. But it doesn't eradicate any kind of truth that would come out of their mouths. What? I'm not going to accept the truth because Satan said a truth. Oh, I resist that. I resist that. Satan, there's a truth coming out of your mouth. I resist it. Forget that. I'd be like, I resist you, but I'll take that truth. Yeah, I'll put that in the back of my mind, drop it down into my heart because I know it's going to benefit me and everybody else around me. It's about truth. It's not about the personality. Now, if I was in the cult of personality, I'd be like, well, I can't accept anything Benjamin Franklin says because he's a Mason. I can't accept anything. George Washington, one of the great quotes that's attributed to George Washington, a lot of people say it's spurious. It doesn't matter. Whoever said it, it's true. Even if they wrote it in 2012 or something, it's still true. It says, government is not eloquence, it's not reason, it is force. And like fire, it's a dangerous servant and a fearful master. Government is dangerous and it is a fearful master because they want to be your masters. People in government want to be your masters. Those people who are running for president, all those Democratic nominees, and even the people on the Republican side, they promise to be good masters, but they mean to be your masters. They mean to govern you. You know, you have a governor in your state. That's just there's a synonym. There's a synonym for the word govern. It's control. If you're a governor, you're a controller. They want to control. They wanted to be governor because they want to control you. They wanted to be politicians because they wanted to represent you. They wanted to have the power. And power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And if that's true, if that statement is true, why would you ever want the ring of power? Because no good can come from it. It does corrupt, and you see what power does to people. When they get on top of the food chain, oh man, they will do anything to stay there, and they will just keep on and on. It's like, dude, you're a billionaire. Why do you want another billion and another billion? And then why do you want to go to a trillion? Holy cow. If I just had, I don't even need $1 million. What do you need all that money for? And why do they just keep working and get more and more power, more prestige? Oh yeah, they say I'm on the top of the food chain, but surely there's a higher level. Let me get there. It just corrupts. And then they become corruptible. Or they were corruptible to begin with because they wanted the power to begin with. So just getting back to the reason I do all this cop stuff is because it's a violation of the very laws that they swore to uphold and protect. Let's just stay with the Bill of Rights. There's flaws in it, and I'm going to point out a flaw in the Fourth Amendment tonight. But if you just stayed with the Bill of Rights and people actually use that as a barrier, like the police would not go beyond that barrier. They're doing this all the time. They go, oh yeah, Constitution, pff, give me your money, civil asset forfeiture, give me your guns, red flag laws. They're always reaching beyond what they took an oath to uphold. When you say, I will uphold the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, they're actually saying, okay, say this is the Constitution. Let's say this piece of paper is the Constitution. They're like, okay, this is all I have the authority to do. This is it. I can't get to the other side of this like they're always doing. They won't do it. They won't because they took an oath. Their word means something. Do you ever remember a time where your word was your bond? Like, what did they call it? They called it something. They always used to say it on Andy Griffith. It was cash on the barrelhead. If your word is your bond, if he said it, he'll do it. A firm handshake and a look in the eye goes, yeah, I'm going to do that for you, Jay. I'll be here tomorrow with my tractor. We're going to plow this field. We're going to raise that barn. We're going to get it done. Their word was who they were. And we no longer are in a reputation-based society. We're in a society that's actually depending on government to help us and save us and give us handouts and get rid of our student loan debt and give us universal health care and give us Obamacare and go to wars for us and take from just plunder from other people. That's why Bastiat said the state is that great fiction by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. But if you're law enforcement, you took this oath to uphold and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. There's only one problem with the officer oath and the oath of any police officer in any state in this land is they take an oath to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States and the laws of their land. And it always conflicts, guys. If you go beyond the Bill of Rights, there's always a conflict. There's always a contradiction. Always. Every single time, guys. So if you let's just say they just took an oath to uphold the Constitution and defend it, they will. That is their barrier. They will not go beyond it. They will make sure that you're secure in your person's houses, papers, and effects. They will make sure that nobody will take your guns away. They'll make sure they'll never make a law against it. They couldn't do it. Why? Because they kept their word to uphold the Constitution. They kept their word. So the reason I use the Constitution, not because I think it in and of itself is legitimate, because it's not. All you need is the golden rule. That's all you need. That's legitimate because it's demonstratable. And it covers all the bases. You don't need all this. It's kind of like the Ten Commandments. You can boil all the Ten Commandments down. Don't covet your neighbor's wife. Don't steal. Don't kill. Don't do this. Don't do that. You can break it all down to just don't steal. Because if you murder somebody, you're taking their life against their will. If you try to rape somebody, you're without their consent, you're doing something to them sexually that they don't want done, and you're taking their sexual. It's a sexual taking. You're taking it for yourself. It's do not steal. Don't steal anybody's stuff. And I would just add, don't harm anybody, because, well, actually harm comes down to do not steal too, because you're actually taking somebody else's health. When you punch somebody in the nose or you trip somebody, you're taking their health away. If they trip and fall and break their teeth, you've done something. You've taken something that's not yours, and it's not your legitimate right to do so. It can all be broken down to the golden rule, guys. Everything that I'm talking about. It is really that simple. And I have people all the time going, life's just not that simple, Brian. Life is more complex than that. Yes, there are complexities to life, but one thing that's not complex is how a human being should interact with another human being, or how a human being shouldn't interact with another human being. It's super freaking simple, man. It's so simple. It's ridiculous. You'd have to pay somebody to make it less simple. It's so simple. Just do to others what you would want done to you, or don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. Okay, so we got what, 607 people in here. How you doing, Edgar Forcer? Davey Crocco, what's up? Davey Crocco's in the house. Wayne, just gonna shout out some of you guys. RDC, Jan Brennan, welcome aboard. Joseph Holly, JC's in the house. Drone Wolf Media, Rooster Cogburn. Didn't they have a movie back in the 70s called Rooster Cogburn with who's the actor? John Wayne, I think, maybe. I think I saw that when it was in the theaters. That's how old I am. Why am I so anti-Semitic? I'm not anti-Semitic. Kathy Byron says, why am I so what have I ever said that shows that I'm anti-Semitic? I'm anti-Zionist. I'm not anti any individual. Never have been. Why would you say that I'm anti-S or against J's in general? What's up, Ken? What's up, Jan? Yeah, give me why you think I'm anti-Semitic. If I said something that was anti-Semitic, let me know. Could be. That's a possibility. Now I'm curious, because I get that every once in a while, not a whole lot. If you're, by the way, if you're, don't let Prager University fool you guys. If you're anti-Zionist, that does not equal anti-Semitic. Being anti-Zionist means you're against the Zionist philosophy of literally taking over the earth. That's what the Zionist philosophy is. If somebody wants to take over the earth by force, I'm against them, because that's against the golden rule. So I'm curious. Give me a quote from me. Give me a quote from me where I'm anti-Semitic, or just make a video and put the clip, the video clip where I'm anti-Semitic. People who blame the Jews for everything. I know Jewish people who have no part of Zionist international banking and don't want any part of it, and realize that's. Do you realize there are actually Jews that carry signs in Jerusalem, in Israel, saying that they are against Zionism? By the way, Zionism came about through the Balfour Declaration. I don't know if you guys know that. And the Balfour Declaration was signed by, dun, 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 Lord Lord Rothschilds. Zionist, the spark of Zionism, the spark of today's Zionism was sparked by Lord Rothschilds through the Balfour Declaration. Ho operator, thanks for the super chat. I will get with the super chats on the end, guys. I really appreciate your support on that. I'm telling you, Zionism is in the Bible. It doesn't matter if you use the Bible to see. Zionism is initiating Zionism literally is the initiation of unjust force on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong. Oh, the Palestinians are in this land. We're going to drive 720,000 of them out. That's called ethnic cleansing anywhere else. But they're saying, well, look in the Bible. It says God's chosen people. That means the Palestinians got to go, right? Bible says it. They're gone. If the Bible says to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong, I would say that that's a spurious quote in the Bible, or some other thing needs to be done. You just got to admit that. If God told, it's like God told me to kill those people. God told me to enter that post office and slash that lady's throat because she was a particular persuasion and said that I would be, it's not the 72 virgins thing like the Quran, but I'm just saying, if somebody's telling you to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong, you're either misreading the Bible or whoever put that in the Bible is trampling all over the golden rule, which that happens to be in the Bible. Rarely do I talk. Thanks, man, for the super chat. Rarely do I talk about biblical things on this channel. Maybe I will one day. It's just that people use that as such a divisive point that it's almost like people are looking for a way to divide from you when they use the Bible or the Quran or whatever. It's like, well, you can read whatever holy book you want to, and you can take away whatever you want to, but the moment you put that into action and start initiating unjust force on peaceful people who haven't even wronged you in any way, it's just because you're a Philistine. Hey, all the Philistines over there is uncircumcised. What you need to do is you need to go over there and you need to kill all of them and then take their women and whatever men are left, you need to cut off their wankers or cut off their foreskin. Come on, are you serious? Really? The initiation of force came from God. On peaceful people who haven't done anything. Well, they did do something wrong. They're worshiping idols, but are they hurting people? I'm sure the Masons are worshiping idols. Do we go into the Masonic temples and start killing people because hey, they're worshiping a different God than I am? Somebody could look at somebody who like look at the Catholic Church. I was raised Catholic, and I look back at that time, and you walk through the Catholic Church, and on either side of the doorway, there's this stuff that's containing so-called holy water, and you dip your fingers in it and you make the sign of the cross, and then you genuflect before the altar, and then the priest comes out. I used to be an altar boy, and you know what? I am so thankful, man, because I hear all these stories. I'm just going to open up to you, okay? I hear all these stories of. I grew up in South Bend, Indiana, and if anybody knows anything about South Bend, Indiana, number one, the reason you probably know about South Bend, Indiana, is because there's a famous mayor there right now named Pete Buttigieg, but this is way before his time. I grew up in South Bend, Indiana. The other thing that South Bend is noted for, it's the home of Notre Dame University, and so it's heavily, I don't know what the percentage is now, but back then it was heavily Roman Catholic. So I was Catholic, and I went through all the rituals, catechism, and first Holy Communion, and all that kind of stuff. And I was an altar boy. Me and my brothers were altar boys. I hear all these stories about altar boys being molested by priests in the back room and all that kind of stuff. I thank goodness that kind of stuff never happened to me. And I'm thinking, wow, every day you hear a story about this happening to people when they were little boys. They were molested in this, basically the whore of Babylon. They were molested, and how did I escape it scot-free? It's like, whew, got out of that one by the skin of my teeth. So anyway, when people bring up that, let's say people look at you as a Roman Catholic, and it's like I think there were 12 stations of the cross or whatever they called it. I'm far removed from that now, but they had idols everywhere. And isn't one of isn't it the first commandment? You shall set up no graven image, and that's all the Roman Catholicism is about. There's images of Mary, there's images of Joseph, there's images of the 12 apostles. There's images everywhere. There's an image of Jesus hanging on the cross. Guys, that ain't Jesus. There's no such thing as a picture of Jesus. They didn't have photography back then. Nobody sketched out a picture. Nobody knows what the guy looked like. Nobody knows. But everybody's got all these pictures hanging on the wall. Oh, who's that? Oh, that's Jesus, and we revere him. Thou shalt make no graven images. I see some contradiction there. So I came out of the Catholic Church, but people can look at the Catholic Church and rightly go, hey, you know what? According to basic definitions, that's pretty much idolatry, like Freemasonry would be idolatry. Like if you're worshiping some goat god or something like that. How is that different from somebody bowing down to a statue of Mary? I don't see any difference. It's a statue in a different form. Maybe the Satanists are offering blood rituals today and they're doing all this kind of stuff. And there are those kind of cults around, but I don't see a difference between, for example, Roman Catholicism, which is outright what you would call idolatry, and somebody worshiping before Molech or some goat god or what's that thing in the Bohemian Grove? It's an owl god, but I don't remember what the owl's name is. Is that Molech? I don't know. It's something like that. But how can you say, how can you defend yourself as a Bible believer, and be consistent? Wouldn't you have to? What if somebody said, all right, prove to me that somebody didn't just write that 2,000 years ago or 200 years ago or 50 years ago? Well, probably not 50 years ago because you got the 1611 King James Version. And then that little kid threw that rock into Aquamarine Cave 4 in 1948. And then they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, which had the whole book of Isaiah, if I'm remembering right. And then they corroborated that with the 1611. It was pretty, other than like punctuations, it was pretty close down the line. But how about before that? What if a band of evil monks wrote the Bible, just rewrote it, just trashed the original thing? You don't even know what the original was. You can't prove that. You honestly have to go, I can't prove that. I really can't prove it. You can say what the Mormons do. Well, I just had a burning in my bosom. I got a burning in my bosom, and that's how I conduct my life, by this burning in my bosom. I may be offending a lot of people, but you got to ask yourself a question. Come on. You would have never known about the burning in your bosom, Mormons, if Joseph Smith hadn't said that in the supposed, with the gold spectacles and the tablets from the angel Moroni, and these crazy stories that we're expected to believe. But then you got the Christians going, they believe in an angel Moroni and golden spectacles and what's that other thing that they do? Shoot, the magical underwear and all that kind of stuff. They're laughing at the Mormons, but then the Mormons could go, well, yeah, but you believe in talking snakes and getting all these animals on the ark and the Red Sea splitting, and people can. It's like my book of stories is better than your book of stories, and then people are laughing at the Muslims for saying, oh yeah, you think when you die you're going to inherit 72 virgins and go to paradise? Who made that stuff up? But they could say the same thing to you about turning water into wine. Come on, who made that up? So now you got one religious group making fun of the other religious group, and the basis for them making fun of themselves is that they all have their stories that they just believe in. Face it. Faith is being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you do not see. I got tons of scriptures in my mind. That's Hebrews 1:11. Faith is being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you do not see. And the writer of Hebrews is actually saying you don't even see this. You just believe it. So how can a Christian condemn a Muslim, and a Muslim condemn a Hindu, and a Hindu condemn a Jehovah's Witness, and a Jehovah's Witness condemn the Mormons, when they're all just operating over their own stories? It's like the kids on the playground. My dad can beat up your dad. My daddy's stronger than your dad, and he can beat him up. Well, the only way you're going to find out if those two dads clash. The only way you're going to find out whose story is true, if those dads come face to face with each other and go, you know what, my son said that I could beat you up, and the other guy goes, oh yeah, well my son said that I could beat you up. It's like, let's throw down, man. I'm talking about bare fist. Let's go here. The only way you're going to find out whose dad could beat up whoever's dad and find out which story is true is if the dads really meet. And you're not going to get that with the holy books. You're not going to find out what's true on the holy books. Is the Quran true? Is the Bhagavad Gita true? Is the Bible true? And then which version of the Bible? The New King James Version, the NIV? People say the NIV is Satan's book. It's Satan's manuscript. And if you're using the New King James, if you're using anything else but the 1611 version. You know what the 1611 version says in, what is it? It's Isaiah 43, 6 or 7. It says, I, the Lord, created evil. So Isaiah 1611 version of the Bible actually puts God down as the creator of evil. Evil originated from God, according to Isaiah 43:7, I think. 42:7, 43:7. I don't know. Thanks for staying with me, guys. I know this is a tough subject for a lot of people, and I was expecting to lose a lot more people on this, but this is the way I feel about it. It's like you're only in a religion. I did not expect to talk about this, but I think it goes part and parcel with, is this the land of the free and home of the brave, or is this the land of the fee and home of the slave? Because part of what really is messing us up is what happens with that brain matter between our ears. It's our minds. Our minds get all messed up into thinking, oh, Roman Catholicism is better than being a Baptist, and the Baptists are against the Presbyterians. Even within Christianity, the Baptists are against the Presbyterians, the Episcopalians are against the Catholics, and then you had Martin Luther branching off from Roman Catholicism and starting the Protestant Reformation. So they're all at each other's throat. It's like, my belief's better than your belief. It's like, oh yeah, really? Says who? Says freaking who? It's all a bunch of BS, it sounds like, because you can't even prove it, man. All you got is, well, I just believe that Moses came out from Mount Sinai with the things in his hand. Do you know when he originally came down, they broke? That's not just a spoof from Spaceballs or whatever it was. They broke and he had to rewrite it or something like that, according to the Old Testament. But I mean, people are like, no, Jesus is the way. Really? Well, prove why is Muhammad not the way? Well, because they denied Jesus. Well, okay, but why are you believing that? Upon what do you base your belief? And you have to admit, what is that? What does Paul say? He says, it's by grace you've been saved through faith. And that's not, it's about faith. It's all about faith. It's just about believing. You just believe it's true. But you have to admit, in your believing, you have to leave room for, you could be wrong. No, I'm not wrong, because look at prophecy. Look at Daniel chapter 12. Look at Daniel chapter 7, man. There's all this prophecy going on. Dude, you can interpret that so many different ways. The statue with the arms. And I know a lot of people, who follow me have, not follow. A lot of people in my audience are part of, Christianity. And this may be offensive, but this is about being honest with your heart. This is about being honest. You don't really know. You just believe, and that's how you believe you're saved. You're not saved by sight. You're saved, and according to the Christian tradition, you're saved by faith. It's by grace you've been saved through faith, and not of yourselves. This is a gift of God. And if you don't have faith, then God didn't give you faith, because that's what that verse says, right? So basically, the bottom line is you just believe that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You don't really know. You just believe. You don't really know if a certain person walked on water. You just believe. You don't know that Christ is coming back. You just believe. And same with you Muslims. You don't know that when you die, you're going to get 72 virgins and go to paradise, but you believe it. And you believe it to such an extent that you'll strap a freaking bomb on you and walk through a subway station and detonate that thing. That's how strong belief is. That's how strong cognitive dissonance can be. Am I saying you're wrong? I don't know. I could be wrong. But all I am saying is, for you to carry that and preach it to somebody else, it rests on just one thing alone. You just believe it, but you could be wrong. And so to make fun of somebody else's religion because they have a story that's different from your story is kind of strange. And you have to admit it. It all boils down, when you boil everything down, when you distill it, when you evaporate it, when all the dust settles at the end of the day, you're a Christian because you believe. You can't prove it. You've never seen Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You've never seen Paul. You've never seen James. You've never seen the 12. Maybe there's 13. You never saw Judas do what they say he did. You don't know. Well, archaeology reveals a lot of this. You don't even know that. Have you been to the ruins? Did you actually go and see? There was this big thing when there's something called the Shroud of Turin. It was making its huge debut back in the 1970s when I was a kid. It was supposed to be this cloth that Mary Magdalene wiped Jesus' face with, and then Jesus face imprinted on there, and now it's enshrined in Roman Catholicism, and people bow down to it. It's just pretty disgusting, if you ask me. It's like, come on, get a life, guys. You're bowing down to a piece of cloth that some artist drew a face on, Oh, they did carbon dating on that, and it indicates that it was back like 2,000 years ago. We have to believe that, Carbon dating is so, it fluctuates so much. You can actually make carbon dating somebody carbon dated a live turtle and it ended up being like 2,500 years old. There's tons of examples of that. So there's just, all I'm saying is, if you have a belief system, you'll do whatever you can and rearrange whatever you can in your life around that belief system to make it fit. And that's a dangerous place to be, because basically you're creating your own sort of an echo chamber and kind of blowing on, or putting the fans on the cement of your cognitive dissonance, and it's just drying quicker. My opinion, of course. My opinion. I know this is going off. No, it's not really, because religion and statism is religion. When you have government, see, that's another thing. The only reason government works is because of belief. The only reason religions work is because of belief. And you can manipulate a whole lot of people through religions and government through belief. I mean, think about it, guys. It's like this picture right here. I'm going to bring up this picture. I want to show you this, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's that horse tethered to a plastic chair. I've done it. I've sent it out in a couple of my videos. Yeah, sometimes the thing holding you back, it's all in your mind. Check this out. See that horse? To just a light little thing, and because they feel a little bit of pressure on their halter, they're not inclined to go anywhere. But they don't realize in their mind, it's like, hey, wait a minute, I weigh like 1,500 pounds, and this chair weighs max 2 pounds. This chair is no match for me. And it's the same. It's the same with religion. And it's the same with government. It's all in your head. The only reason it works is because it's all in your head. Same with fiat currency. Oh, by the way, black rifles matter. And you know why black rifles matter? Black rifles matter because lives matter. I want that 85-year-old grandma. Have you ever shot an AR-15? The recoil is so light. It's so pleasant. It's a loud weapon. You want to have hearing protection. But the reason I think black rifles matter, I'm going to get back to the horse with the chair in a second. But the reason black rifles matter is because that 85-year-old woman who can't really tolerate much recoil, like you wouldn't want to put a 457 in an 85-year-old woman's hand, man. It would just, she'd probably kill herself with the recoil on that thing. With an AR-15, she's got 30 shots. She can be a horrible shot. She's got 30 shots. She's got all day and all night. She's like, I got all day and all night, honey. Come at me. I got that. My grandson gave me this AR-15 for Christmas. You're going to break into my house. You're going to feel my wrath, honey. Black rifles matter because 85-year-old grandmothers matter. That's why they matter. Give that woman an AR-15. And the politicians are going, no, we need to get rid of AR-15, the scary black. I mean, it's almost like they should get that guy who does the voice for Darth Vader, the guy who does all the movie intros, the scary black AR-15 assault style rifle that only belongs on the battlefield. Get it off our streets. It's killing people. That's how they should make it sound. But black rifles matter because 85-year-old grandmothers matter. Back to the horse on the tethered chair. That's a perfect word picture, or a perfect picture to describe the power, the idiocy of the power of government, the idiocy of the power of religion. It gets into your mind, and people start believing it, and people start championing that cause based on a belief that they can't even prove. There's nowhere where you can prove that one man has a higher claim over the life and property of another. Even if that person was somehow coerced into telling that supposed ruler, oh yeah, you can rule me and everything, I will just be your slave for the rest of my life. There's still no legitimized authority for a person to have power, any power over another individual. It's not legitimate. Because if it was, you would see it everywhere. You would have that power. Everybody would have that power inherently. Nobody's got that power. You have power over one person in your life. And you will only have one power over one person in your entire life. That's power over yourself. You govern yourself. You rule yourself. You can't rule another person. The closest thing that I can think of to being a legitimate ruler, to have exercise legitimate power over another individual, is a parent-child relationship. When that baby is a child, he completely depends. It's not that they have the ability to consent or anything like that, but you have been given the gift of a child. You have a child, and that child completely depends on you to feed it, to clothe it, to take care of it, to bring it up and teach it wisdom and teach it knowledge, teach him or her knowledge. There's that's a legit parenthood is a legitimate authority. That's the only legitimate human to human authority I can think of on this planet. Can you think of another one? I can't think of another one. So it's a complete fabrication and it's completely based on belief. This idea of government, because what they're saying is somebody has a higher claim over your life and property than you. Somebody has the moral right to rule you and you have the moral obligation to obey them. Oh yeah, says who? Prove it. Can you prove it? No, that's just how I was raised and that's how I was taught. That's what they taught me in my 15,000 hour government school indoctrination program, and that's just kind of what I've always been parroted, and I've never really thought different about it. Okay, well that doesn't make it true. That just means you believe that. Just because you believe something, you can believe it with your whole heart. You could die for it. I'll go to the guillotine for this. They could put cement shoes on and throw me out in the middle of the ocean, and I will be steadfast in my belief. Okay, you could be sincerely wrong. You may be sincere, but you could be sincerely wrong. People die for their beliefs all the time. Look at all these people who strap bombs to themselves. Just go on these suicide missions. They're sincerely wrong. Why do we know they're sincerely wrong? Because all they're doing is operating on faith. And so why is the Muslim wrong, but the Christian's not wrong? You have to look at that, guys. You got to look at that. How's the Muslim wrong, but the Hindu's not wrong? How could the Christian not be wrong? How is the Muslim wrong, but obeying Congress is not wrong? Obeying these words of men written on fancy pieces of paper, backed by the threat of force. If you don't obey this law right here, I wrote some laws out for you, boy, and you're not obeying them. And if you don't obey them, your ass is mine. I'm going to throw you into a cage. I'm going to arrest you. I'm going to ruin your life, and I'm going to take your stuff. That's ridiculous. We really believe that. So the thing with this horse tethered to this chair right here, just look at it again. Look at this guy. Look at him. He really thinks he can't go anywhere. He really thinks that he has no power over the chair. He really thinks that. He really believes that. He's really sincere in his belief about that. But he's sincerely wrong. And that's the power of government. And that's the power of religion. And religion and government is no difference. Government is a religion. It is literally a religion. It has its own buildings and its own temples. If you doubt me, just go to Washington, D.C. Look at any state house, any building. It has its own buildings. It has its own shrine. If you don't believe me, go to where they house. I think it's in the Smithsonian Institute now. It didn't used to be, but go to the Jefferson Memorial. Go to the Lincoln Memorial. It has its own idols. You know, we got Jefferson. We got Abraham Lincoln, freed the slaves. You know, all these stories that we tell ourselves, all the gods of government. They're for the founding fathers. And then we go to all the death memorial shrines, the World War I and World War II and the Vietnam War shrines. And we bow down and we genuflect and we treat it like it's a religion, because it is. It is really a religion. You walk down there, it's like walking in a morgue. People are all silent and they're reverent. And the sad thing is, most of those people did not have to die. Most, if not all of them, didn't have to die because they all died, every one of them. World War One. World War One did not happen until after 1913. What's so magical about 1913? Yeah, we had the Civil War back in the 1800s, but World War One, World War Two, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, Desert Storm, just name Afghanistan, Iraq, doesn't matter. Name any war. Didn't happen until after 1913. What happened in 1913? Well, we got this thing called dishonest money. The dishonest money system known as the fiat currency international Zionist banking cartel Ponzi scheme called the Federal Reserve Note. We call it the US dollar, but it's not really a dollar. All these wars are made possible by dishonest money because gold and silver is finite. You can only mine so much of that stuff. And the reason I call it dishonest is because they initially made silver and gold certificates. Well, that gold window was closed back on August 15th, 1971 when Nixon says, "We need to defend the dollar against the speculators." Oh, he's such a great guy. Nick, hey, honey, come on, kids, let's gather around the TV. Richard Nixon said that he's going to tell the governor to spend the convertibility of gold and silver into dollars because he's going to defend the dollar against the speculators. Richard Nixon is defending our dollar against the speculators so he can preserve the American economy. No, you know what he did? He basically said, holy crap. Charles de Gaulle just sent his men across the Atlantic Ocean filled to the gills with fiat currency, and they're demanding our gold back, their gold back. Because during the Bretton Woods Agreement in the 1940s, they signed a contract. Basically, United States signed the contract and said they're going to be the world's reserve currency. They're going to peg the gold standard at $35 an ounce. And all of a sudden, the Vietnam War broke out. Charles de Gaulle goes, "How the hell are they funding that war with gold? There ain't no way they got that much gold in the reserves. Load that kitty up, go across the Atlantic, give them back all their fiat reserve worthless Ponzi notes, and get our gold back." And Nixon's going, "Holy crap, we got us an issue." Or actually, the bankers are saying, "Holy crap, we got us an issue." Send out banker puppet Nixon and tell him he's going to defend the dollar against the speculators. We're here for you. We're from the government. We're here to help. Anytime you hear that, run the other way, because the exact opposite is going to happen. They're going to take your money and they're going to make you less safe. So he closes the gold window in 1971. OPEC is formed in 1974. And then they have the petrodollar arrangement, and that's the only reason our fiat currency Ponzi scheme is floating right now, because the petrodollar and the narco dollar, of course, coming out of Afghanistan. 90% of all opium. Oh, we got an opium crisis. I wonder why, CIA. I wonder why, DIA. I mean, DEA. Why do we have an opium crisis? It wouldn't be because you're guarding the poppy fields to make sure that stuff goes to market. You know, the poppy is that's where opium comes from. Gosh, just kind of look the other way. We have an opium crisis, and it's kind of because of us. You know, it reminds me of Fast and Furious, all those guns, and then they're trying to get rid of Americans, guns on American soil. Gosh, it's just so much, man. It's so convoluted. It's so brain dead. It's so out to lunch. It's so religious. But we just got to fall. Hey, Saint Nixon knew what he was doing, didn't he? It's like we treat presidents like there's got to. Hey, who you voting for? Well, it's a difference. It's a toss up between Saint Hillary. Can you imagine Saint Hillary and Saint Trump? And I don't know. You laughing in there, babe? Trish is laughing. I'm on fire. Jeez, I feel like I'm on fire. Saint Hillary. Can you imagine Saint it's like put Saint in front of any president. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work, man. It's like Saint Hitler, I mean, Saint Stalin, Saint Mussolini, Saint Mao Zedong. Gosh, it's just kind of like nails on a chalkboard. It doesn't work, but we don't look at it like that because government is the God that most people serve. What are we going to, and people are like, government gives us life. What are you going to do without government? You're not going to have roads, schools, bridges, clean running water, USDA meats. You're not going to have steaks. Holy crap. What are we going to do without steaks? We can't have steaks without government. Nothing will be safe. Oh yeah, nothing will be safe. Let's try this on for size, okay? 71,000 people die every single year directly because of FDA approved pharmaceuticals. And we're worried about 40,000 people dying from gun violence, 60% of which is suicide. 60% of that 37 to 40,000 is suicides, guys. And they want to take guns away from us. Why don't they take the FDA away from us? Why don't they take CVS away from us or Walgreens? We are gonna ban CVS because they cost a lot. You really care about people? Ban CVS, ban Walgreens, or tell them not to. I'm not for banning anything, guys. I'm just saying that's how ridiculous it is. 40,000 people die every year from gun violence. And they don't take into consideration that way more people die every year with knives. They don't call it knife violence, although in London, they're kind of calling it knife violence and they're calling for knife control. That's how insane it is, guys. When are we going to have mace control? Oh, you can't have mace in your purse, ma'am. That you may harm the aquatic life. You may accidentally spray it in Red Lobster and it goes into the aquarium. And gosh, we don't want a bunch of dead guppies. We got to take the mace away from you. If it's not one reason, it's another to take stuff away from you. But it's all the dog and pony show, man. If they really, like I said before, if they really cared about people, if only, and I'm saying only, let's just give them the suicides, okay? If 40,000 people die through gun violence, and that's everything, guys. That's law enforcement, killing people who probably deserve to be killed. It's accidents. It's just everything's rolled up into that. This 40,000. If you take 40,000 and divide it by 327 million people in America, you're talking about less. And they call this it's an epidemic of gun violence. You don't want to propagate the epidemic of gun violence, do you? And it's almost like they look at you with this wild eye. It's gun violence and it's an epidemic. It's not an epidemic if only 0.01 people are dying every year from it. And 60% of that number, 60% of that 0.012389 people that die every year from gun violence, 60% is from suicide. It's not epidemic, but they constantly, it'd be like somebody wrote, I did a video on this. It'd be like if you pulled up every occurrence of a redhead abusing animals. I'm not against redhead, guys. I'm not against gingers, okay? I'm just using this as an example. If you pulled up every occurrence of a redhead abusing, let's say, an animal, dog, cat, it doesn't matter, you could have 3 or 4 stories every single day on nightly news for 5 years and it would sound like an epidemic, but the number is so insignificant. Yeah, it's horrible that gingers are abusing animals, if indeed that's what's happening, but it's so insignificant and it's small. And I bet you more redheads abuse animals than people die every year from gun deaths. That's how ridiculous it is. So you can make something sound epidemic if you just take every occurrence of it all over the nation and put it on the news every night. And you can make it sound like, holy crap, Jed, we got a problem here. We got a serious gun problem here and we need to take care of it because it's reached epidemic proportions, man. We got to take care of this gun violence. It's killing a whole ton of people. Oh, really? How many people? 40,000 people a year. 40,000 people a year. Okay, that's like 101, 102 people a month. How many people did you say we have in America? 327 million. Okay, so if we took 40,000 divided by 327, let's just check. Like, let's calm down the emotions. Let's not ride on emotions. That'll get us into trouble. We all know that. 40,000 divided by 327 million. Let's see, what is that? Roger? That's only 0.012389% of the entire pop. That is not an epidemic. Like, even if it was 5%, maybe you're coming up to epidemic proportions. I don't know, but you're talking about 0.012389%. It ain't no epidemic of gun violence. And then you have to take the 0.32089% and you have to take 60% away from that. That's how it's almost close to zero when you factor in everything. And we're not even talking about, if you really want to go after something and you want to save a whole lot of lives, why aren't they banning knives? Get rid of the steak knives, butter knives, any sharp object, you can't have them. 30,000 people every year check into the emergency room and many fatalities from chainsaws. How come they're not banning those? 30,000 is pretty close to 40,000 to me. Why is there no chainsaw epidemic? I don't hear anybody talking about a chainsaw epidemic. I need to wet my whistle. I need to wet my whistle with a little of this illegal moonshine right here. Hold on one second. Is everybody good? Should I keep going? Am I way off kilter? The topic for this is this ain't the land of the free. Can I keep going? Should I keep going? Gosh, I just, I don't want to waste anybody's time here. We don't have a gun violence epidemic. We just don't. The numbers don't support it. It's like, everybody chill out, calm down, stop riding on emotions. That's why I always quote that thing from Larkin Rose. By the way, let's do Larkin Rose a favor. Go to Larkin Rose on YouTube and just subscribe to his channel. Tell him High Impact Vlog sent you. I'd like to get that guy on a live stream. That guy's pretty entertaining, flat out voluntarist, man. You can't even get more ironclad than that guy. Got kind of an attitude. Got a little attitude, a little hard to get along with. But I like Larkin. He's good people. Larkin Rose, I'm giving you a shout out right now. I've asked you a couple times in a couple DMs, will you come on live with me? And I ain't heard back from you, kind of like you're kicking me to the curb, but I'm okay with that because I ain't riding on emotion. So you guys go to Larkin Rose. He's on YouTube under Larken Rose, R-O-S-E. Sub his channel, go to his last video, say High Impact Vlog sent me, get your ass over on a live stream with him. Anyway, my girlfriend's laughing because she knows. I like Larkin, but there's some parts to you, Larkin, that ain't too likable. Just take the edge off a little bit. You got a good message. It's a good message. I like the message. It's like HW. I like the message. It's a good message. little rough, little sharp on the edges, need to be taken down. Just whittle it out. Take down your Flintstone and just whittle it down, sharpen it up. It'll be okay. Larkin, come on. Larkin Rose, I'm giving you a shout out. Anyway, what Larkin was says, he said, politics, and I've changed this a little bit and added some words to it, but politics is the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear mongering in order to dupe average people into, get this, accepting and even demanding the chains of their own enslavement. That literally, in one sentence, encapsulates exactly, demonstrably, provably, objectively what politics is, and we still engage in it. That's why I have this channel, guys, because I feel like I'm going crazy. I need an outlet. I need an outlet over here, man. Just help me. Somebody help me. I just need somebody to listen to. Read my lips. No more politics. I just saw somebody say, read my lips. Larkin Rose spent 11 years in federal prison for not paying taxes, i.e. for refusing to be a slave. Yeah, I mean, hats off to that, man. See, that's the kind of peaceful resistance. Now, YouTube, I know your algorithms are at work here. They're always at work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on us truther channels. But I want you to understand something. I want peaceful resistance. Ain't looking for war. Ain't looking for people to get hurt. I just want peaceful resistance. Yeah, he spent 11 months in jail, guys, because he refused to let the state extort him. That's hardcore, man. That's boom in your face. Anyway, the reason I brought Larkin Rose up, besides that politics quote, is he has a really good video called The Tiny Dot. If you haven't seen it, you should, because it encapsulates, and I think it's a 6-minute video about how ridiculous. There's like all of us, like just this bunch of, it's called The Tiny Dot. It's a bunch of tiny dots, like millions of us, 300 million of tiny dots. Just all packed together. And on this side, you've got the politicians and you've got the enforcers. And it all adds up to like this little bitty insignificant dot telling all these dots what to do. It's like, you need to follow our words. You need to follow our commandments. But the reason we don't come against that is because mainstream media and politicians have done a good job distracting, deceiving, and dividing all of us. And it's true, guys, it is not a cliche to say united we stand, divided we fall. We are so divided that we're like that horse on that chair. Let me just pull it back up. We as Americans are exactly like this horse tethered to this Walmart plastic $2 Walmart chair. He has the power to resist and walk away and just thrash that chair, but he doesn't do it because his mind is keeping him from doing it. And that's the power of that video, The Tiny Dot. There's all of us and there's very few of them. And if we ever get together and realize our power for civil disobedience, holy crap, what we could do. The knowledge we could unleash on this planet, because we are tethered to the plastic chair of government nonsense, government brainwashing. And part of that is because, I don't know. Okay, here, let's do a poll. Let's do a real quick poll. Don't give a thumbs up. Let's see, what is it easy to make an X? Indicate in some way, like, okay, do a thumbs down. Give me a thumbs down if you spent 12 years in the public school indoctrination program. I did. I from kindergarten till 12th grade. I was in the, just give a thumbs down if you're a product of the public school system. I am a product of the public school system. Thumbs down. Yep. A lot of us, man. No? Oh, wow. There was one no. Do sex guy. Were you homeschooled? Nope. Seeking the truth. Hey, what's up, man? Nope. Yeah, a lot of thumbs down. A lot of us. Eagle Eyes Around the World says no. Good. Dwayne says no. You quit and got a job. That's like the smartest thing you can do. That's the smartest thing you can do, is drop out of school and just get experience in life. Not even so much just get experience in life. Life will teach you so much more than school ever could. And I'm not saying that I didn't learn some valuable things. I learned cursive, I learned writing in school. Like one of the reasons I write in block letters is I took a mechanical drawing class in college, but I mean, like, I'm not saying that there aren't benefits because they intertwine benefits in there, but it is literally a public school indoctrination program. It's a government indoctrination program. It's state funded. How's that cursive working out for you? Exactly, Wasabi Ninjas. How's that cursive working out for you? When was the last time? There's another question. When was the last time you actually wrote in cursive? I signed my name in sort of cursive, sort of block letters, but it's kind of a hybrid mix of both. Like I remember one time I didn't do cursive for a long time. I couldn't remember how to do a capital I. All caps. YouTube is beating your rear buffering. Oh, is there a lot of buffering? Shoot, I'm not getting that on this side. Everybody buffering? Shoot. Yeah, cursive signatures. Anyway, so we have to overcome this 15,000 hour public school indoctrination program if you spent 12 years in there. And then they try to re-educate you in the college education camps, as I call. And you just waste a bunch of money. I have a college degree and have never, well, I may have gotten my foot in the door in one job in my life, but as far as using it right now, I don't use my aerospace administration degree or my minor in psychology. I think psychology is fascinating, but as far as it doing anything good for me monetarily, nope, never have. And is some of that my fault? Yeah, sure, it's my fault, but I could have done just as good or better using that money and investing it in something. I would have been way farther ahead. I didn't learn anything about the Federal Reserve International Banking Cartel and how the money system and the markets are manipulated. I was always taught history the way the victor wrote it instead of looking at alternative things. And it's not even so much that public school teaches you not to question things. It's just that it's implied that it's discouraged. You know what I mean? There's a lot of deception involved in public school, and there is sprinkled in some good stuff because that's how you make lies look attractive. You have to. It's almost like a baked potato. It's the skin of the truth stuffed with a great big mountain of lies, and you don't know it's lies until you get through that skin. And by the time you get through to the skin, people are so acclimated to chomping on the lies that they just kind of deal with it. You just deal with the lies. You deal with the way things are. So what I wanted to get with today was I appreciate you guys sticking around too. All my antics that make Trisha laugh. All right. What I want to deal with was Bowman left me a message on my last video that said, and it piqued my curiosity because I'd never heard of the Rodriguez versus the United States case. Actually, I take that back. I had heard of it, but I never really looked into it. Bowman says, in Rodriguez versus the United States, and this is under my video that I did on that truck driver who got hassled by the Idaho cops. In Rodriguez versus the United States, the U.S. Supreme Court held that unless they have reasonable suspicion of a crime, the police can't extend a traffic stop in order to conduct a dog sniff. And that's what happened with the trucker, the bread man, Paul Barger. If you haven't seen that video, he did a really good job on that. Gosh, it dropped to 480. That's nice. Isn't it nice to have 180,000 subscribers and only have 480 people in the room? Jeez. People with 5,000 subscribers get like 2,500 to 3,500 people in the room. It's interesting. By the way, did you guys get a notification when I went live tonight? I tried to give like a 20-minute notice. 603. Oh, it says 603 on your end. My end says 481. That's weird. Huh, yeah, it says 600 on my computer screen. I don't know what the disparity is. 605? That's weird. My phone says 478 now. 611 likes. Huh. Yeah, now my computer screen's saying 478. That's weird. Hey, thanks for the numbers, guys. Okay. So Rodriguez versus the United States. So he says that the Supreme Court held that unless they have reasonable suspicion of a crime, the police can't extend a traffic stop in order to conduct a dog sniff. That's true and false all at the same time, guys. I'll show you this. on this computer screen. And this does come from Wikipedia, and I do have my reservations about Wikipedia, but I searched and I triangulated the information here. And from what I've gathered, Wikipedia actually has a pretty good summation of the Rodriguez versus the United States case. You have to be real careful with Wikipedia. Wikipedia can be a really good resource, and it can also lead you down a very, very wrong direction because there's some bias there. But this, for the most part, unless you guys can see something that I haven't seen, shoot, I wish this wasn't on bright mode like this. I want to make sure you guys can see this. Maybe I can turn the camera around. Let me see. Can you guys see that? Oh yeah, that'll be good. Does that work for you? Can you guys see that? Let me know if you can see it. And then what I'll do is I'll put I got this little tripod thing. Maybe, hopefully the tripod. Let's see. This is my little computer setup here. Whoa. Oh, wow. Hey, that actually works. Can you guys see that okay? Let me know, and then I'll proceed. Yeah, Seeking Truth said he gets an average of 100. Yeah, my views suck on my live streams. They always have. Solid. Okay, cool. So it says Rodriguez case. It was a state Supreme Court case which analyzed whether police officers may extend the length of a traffic stop to conduct a search with a trained detection dog. And that's what was happening here with this video right. Where is it? Should be here. Oh man, I was reading comments or something. Yeah, it was this. It was called "Pulled Over by a Canine Police Dog." Well, he did. By the way, he did a really good job on this. Now, if you're watching this, Paul, one thing to be careful of is that you want to be careful about asking or answering cop questions, man. They are just seeking to entrap, and especially if there's two people in the cab of the vehicle or even three, because what they'll do is they'll separate you, and cops are trained to lie. So they'll separate you, and if they get two different stories from two different people, they take that lie and they almost treat it like it's a crime. They can lie to you, but you can't lie to them. And I dealt with that in the overview of the breakdown of this video. So it says it was a United States Supreme Court case which analyzed whether police officers may extend the length of a traffic stop to conduct a search with a trained detection dog. And this is it. 6-3 opinion. The court held that officers may not extend the length of a traffic stop to conduct a dog sniff unrelated to the original purpose of the stop. So if they pulled you over because you had a faulty tail light, or in this guy's case, there was a light off in on the top of the truck, which was so insignificant, guys. They were just looking for a reason to pull this guy over. They're saying the 6-3 Supreme Court opinion is basically saying that they can't bring out the dogs if the original intent for the stop was that traffic, that tail light, or that light on the top of the truck in this guy's case. However, the court, that is the Supreme Court, remanded the case to the United States Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit, where it originated from, to determine whether the officer's extension of the traffic stop was independently, and these are the key words, independently justified by reasonable suspicion. Some analysts have suggested the court's decision might limit police authority was influenced. So while the Supreme Court, it was a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court said, yeah, you cannot extend the length of your traffic stop to conduct a search with a detection dog. But then they remanded. In other words, they threw the case back down to the lower court, and the lower court investigated or got with the traffic cop, and they determined that it was independently justified by reasonable suspicion. That's why I don't like the wording of the Fourth Amendment right here. That's what I've done is pulled the Fourth Amendment and the 10th Amendment up on your screen right there. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. First of all, you got unreasonable. The cop can go, well, yeah, it says unreasonable, but what I'm doing is absolutely reasonable. So there's an opening of interpretation there. Shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue, but, in other words, you can issue warrants if you have this, if you have probable cause. But then that probable cause has to be supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. In other words, they can't just go, yeah, we're going to search your vehicle. It's like, okay, what part of my vehicle do you want to search? It says particularly describing the place to be searched or the persons or things to be seized. And the persons or things to be seized means they got to have names. They got to have some information to go on. And it's got to be supported by oath or affirmation from who? Whose oath? Whose affirmation? Somebody has to have a reason for coming into your house or searching your car or whatever. It's got to be based on probable cause, but that probable cause is interpretive, just like unreasonable searches and seizures. That's what I don't like about it. That's the flaw of the Fourth Amendment. The spirit of the law is perfect. It's intact. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. It's like, okay, there's this brick wall surrounded by metal casings, and you can't go through it unless you have probable cause. And that probable cause has to be supported by an oath or affirmation, particularly describing the places to be searched or the persons or things to be seized. They can't just go, hey, we're here to search your house. What room in the house? Like, what exactly are you looking for? Are you wanting to look under the couch? It's got to be specific, and that's got to be supported by oath or affirmation. You almost never see that. It's like they just have this warrant to search your house. It's like this broad spectrum warrant. It's like getting antibiotics at the doctor's office. They just give you this broad spectrum thing that just kills everything. That's why they call it anti-bio. An antibiotic is literally anti-life. It's killing everything in your body in the hopes that it's going to get the right thing. And that's what law enforcement officers are doing. They're just broad spectrum searching to find something, anything to get you on, because we know you're not in compliance, boy. And if you slip just once, we're going to catch you. That's not what they should be there doing. They should be there to uphold your rights, defend your rights, protect you, use the Constitution as a shield. This thing should be like, boom, you can't see me. I'm shielded by the Constitution of the United States. But that's the flaw of the Constitution. And that's why Lysander Spooner said, whether the Constitution be one thing or another, this much is certain. It's either authorized such a tyrannical government as we've had, or it's been unable to prevent it. In either case, it's unfit to exist. It's powerless to prevent you being bulldozed over, but it also didn't authorize you being bulldozed over. Okay, so what good is it if it can't help you? If the Second Amendment is in place, but they craft all these red flag and TAPS laws and they're going to take your weapons anyway, well, what good was the Second Amendment? And why are we still championing its cause? I champion the cause of the spirit of the Second Amendment, but it's not helping us. It really isn't, guys. Look at Gary Willis and where was it? It was the first red flag law case. I can't remember what the state was, Maryland or Virginia. He's dead. I come to his house at 5:17 in the morning to serve him his red flag law, and the guy comes to the door with a gun. Of course, it's 5:17 in the morning. Maybe they're intruders. I got my gun. I'm going to protect myself and my family. Boom, the guy's dead. But he had a Second Amendment right. Yeah, I know, but you were right when the government was wrong, and now you're dead. So what are you going to do? That's why I started off this video with that quote. And it's more than a quote. It's more than a cliche. It's dangerous. It's super dangerous to be right when the government is so woefully wrong. And it doesn't just cost you property. It doesn't just cost you time. It can literally cost you your life. I mean, a lot of people I'm talking to, there's 486 people here, maybe a small percentage of us will die because the government is so freaking wrong. And think about this, guys. Think about the insanity of trusting the government when the government has, even in its own history, if you just stay with the public indoctrination version of history, the government is responsible for the deaths of more than 250 million people in just the last 100 years alone. And 250 million is a very conservative number from the research that I've done. That's 250 million people have died at the hands of a government that those 250 million people trusted to keep them safe. And we are not counting wartime. So it's ludicrous for us to say, well, our government will keep us safe because, history is not going to repeat itself this time, not for us, right? Hey, if we don't learn from history, we are doomed to repeat it, and we're repeating it every single day that we believe in government. Period. And we don't have an excuse. We have the internet. You can learn all this stuff. You don't have to believe what I say. Just look at how many deaths in the last 100 years by governments. I don't care if it's a if it's the Vietnam government, the Chinese government, the Russian government, the United States government, whatever. All governments have killed their people, and they first disarm them because the last thing a government wants is competition. They don't want competition on the monetary scale, and they don't want competition on the power scale. That's why they're always so gung ho, excuse the pun, to take away your firearms. They don't want powerful people. They don't want intelligent people. They don't want informed people. They want dumbed down people. That's one of the reasons for the public schools is just dumb down people and put everybody in a cookie cutter mold. Stamp Fred, stamp Barney, stamp Harry, stamp Sue, stamp Sally. Okay, everybody's in the image of government. It's like, you see that Bible verse, they were created in the image of God. Well, we've been stamped in the image of government. We all have. We all been influenced by government to a greater degree or a lesser degree. We're all products of what the government is because it's all around us all the time. This idea that government is the answer to all of our problems. And it's not only not the answer to our problems, it actually is our problem. Our problem is government. How can the answer to our problem be the very problem itself? It is our freaking problem. And then I wanted to just articulate real quick the 10th Amendment. Everybody still okay? Everybody good? 462 still in here. That's what war is, huh? I know this is a long time. I want to make this. Yeah, anarchy will work. JC says anarchy will work, and that's something else that gets under my skin is people are calling the Antifa people anarchists. They're the opposite of anarchists. If you had an anarchist, you wouldn't be out in the street throwing Molotov cocktails and burning cars and breaking windows. If you were a true anarchist, you'd be a voluntarist. And voluntarists don't go out and damage other people's property. Anarchy only means, all anarchy is no rulers. That's all it means. Etymologically, you can't even go beyond that. It's anarchy, no rulers, no rulers. It does not mean chaos, blood flowing in the streets. Oh my God, we don't have government, we have anarchy. Government is chaos. Government is the very anarchy they think they're against. And I'm just using that loosely because they think they equate anarchy with chaos, and it's not. Even if you looked in a dictionary, they have the word anarchy totally wrong. Merriam-Webster got anarchy wrong. Anarchy is not chaos. It's not without rule. It's without rulers. We don't want rulers. There would be one rule in an anarchist society. That one rule is don't hurt other people and steal their stuff. Don't take from other people. Don't harm them in any way. Whether you're taking their stuff or punching them in the nose, don't do it. Don't extort them. Don't coerce them. Don't do something against their will. Don't do something without their consent. That's all anarchy is. So when they say that these Antifa people are anarchists, I laugh almost every single time because it's kind of like, do you guys know the story of the lemmings? We always use the word lemming as this little furry creature that, hey, he goes insane one day. He's just eating grass. Just a little gentle, cute little rat-like creature. Just eating grass. Just going about his business. And then all of a sudden, one day he goes, here, and he just starts running off the cliff, jumping off the cliff. And all the whole herd of lemmings go, I gotta run off the cliff too. And then everybody follows that leader, and they all drown in the sea, and then sharks get him and all that kind of stuff. Do you know that's not even true? There was an episode and you can look this up on the internet. I am not kidding you. The lemming story is false. I still use lemming because everybody understands lemming as just a blind follower of the blind kind of thing. Actually, I should stop using it because it's the improper use. There was this documentary in the 1950s, I think, or 1960s called White Wilderness. And what the film crew actually did is put these lemmings on this turntable and they spin it around to get shots of them just being flung out. It looked like they were jumping off the cliff. They weren't really jumping off the cliff. It's not in them to do. It's not in their nature just to commit suicide for no reason. But it was popularized by none other than Walt Disney. Go figure. Go figure. Walt Disney came up with the lie. Gosh, I never would have thought that. So Walt Disney came up with this concept of lemmings, who one of them commits suicide and the whole herd just jumps off the cliff with him. But anyway, I just brought that up because that's the I don't know what animal, I don't know if any animal that does that, but it is a zombie-like mechanism that's at work in our society where one person does something and they come up with this idea about anarchy, and now it's on every news station. Anarchists took over Baltimore today and they threw glass bottles through the Starbucks. Just anarchists don't do that. Not true. True anarchists don't. I'm an anarchist, I should know. And by anarchist, I mean we don't need rulers. I don't want you to be ruled, and I don't want to be ruled. I don't want somebody to tell me what to do. I'm an adult. I can do it myself. The last time somebody legitimately could tell me what to do was my mom and dad when I was living, growing up in their house when I was a little kid. It's not like that anymore. I'm an adult. I'm not going to tell you what to do, and I don't want you to tell me what to do. What's wrong with that? It seems pretty reasonable to me. Do you want somebody putting their finger in your nose and saying you can't smoke weed, you can't grow weed, you can't drink alcohol, you got to drive, make sure you're not going 27 miles an hour in that 25-mile-an-hour zone, you can't have guns 1,000 feet from a schoolyard, gun-free zone, disarm yourself so that the criminals can be empowered and you can become a victim? Jeez, people who obey laws are the ones who end up getting hurt in a gun-free zone. We've talked about that. So the lemming thing, read the super chats. Okay. So the lemming thing is false and the anarchy thing is false. Anyway, back to that Rodriguez. Let me close out the Rodriguez thing and then I'll get to super chats. But the Rodriguez thing is Rodriguez versus the United States. While the Supreme Court did rule that you could not extend a normal traffic stop to bring on the dogs, so to speak, the lower courts, it was remanded to the lower courts, and the lower courts took the officer's word and said, yeah, it's okay to do that. So it almost made the Supreme Court ruling just of no effect. And now they're going to take it by state case basis. So I wouldn't spout Rodriguez versus the United States, because even though the Supreme Court ruled in the favor of that, Rodriguez lost. He lost it. He lost the case. So let me go to super chats. Trying to multitask here. Somebody said, please read that. Free Schaefer. Oh, that's another thing. Schaefer Cox. I'm glad somebody brought Schaefer Cox up. I don't know if you guys remember it, and I'll try to find the video, but I did a video on Schaefer Cox. He's just a liberty-loving dude from Alaska. He was exposing the corruption in the Alaskan government, pedophilia, and the feds come out against him. They try him, they indict him. He's in prison. He's been in prison for a little over 8 years now, serving a 26-year sentence. The guy never hurt anybody. That's our criminal injustice system for you. All right. Let's see. Trying to find. Okay, I got it. David Crocco, thanks for the super chat. Okay, going over super chats, guys. A lot of words are misused nowadays. Yep. I just listened again to the other day to Paul Harvey. You know what? That's something I started doing when I was young. I started listening to Paul Harvey. Man, that guy, it was so interesting listening to that guy. I think he's dead now. Okay, Davey Crocco says we're gonna have to red flag this. What, my video? Yeah, that's funny. Monopoly money's upside down. Did you see the Mexico police clash with migrants from Africa, Haiti at the immigration center demanding passage through Mexico to the United States? I did not see that. Thanks for the super chat. I will check that out. That sounds actually interesting to me. Ho operator, thanks for the super chat. People should join David Merlin's criminal complaint and keep what you earn as tax code 83A and prepare for war. You know what, Ho operator, I think you mentioned David Merlin the other day, and I tried looking for it, and I think it was taken down off of my channel because I had his code 83A teaching up on my channel, and I don't know what happened to it. So I'm gonna have to find. And also try to find it on my external hard drive so I can repost it. I couldn't find it there either. So, but yeah, David Merlin, is it Mrylland? David Merlin. I'll try to find some links. Ho operator, if you can post some links in the chat room right here, or just spell his name in all caps or something. You guys got to check that out. That guy's very intelligent. He's up on this IRS stuff and it's very interesting. I would have him on a show. That'd be great. Okay, Bacchus Shamil says, by the way, Bacchus Shamil, I remembered who you are. He does a He's on Twitter as Bakasha Mill. What is your Twitter handle? Because I think you changed it. Put it in the chat thing, and if I see it, I'll shout you out. He says things will get worse because our society is composed of useless eaters. It is true. It is true. Bakasha Mill, if you could put your name on right now, I'll just shout you out so I don't miss it. Put your Twitter handle because you do a lot of good stuff. I think it's in New York or New Jersey. I rarely disagree with Paul Harvey and always disagreed with Andy Rooney. Andy Rooney. I remember that guy. Becca Shamil, are you still in here? Just put your name, your Twitter name. Shoot. I don't see it. Anyway, he says things will get worse because our society is composed of useless eaters. People put criminals in uniforms, crooked officials on pedestals. It's just mind-boggling. People please do a video on. I can't say this word. It's those things up in the sky that hang around for a long time. They were contrails, but now they're something else. That if I say it, the algorithm will pick up on it. No, I don't really care about that. How am I giving out? How am I giving that out? Maxwell. Did I hold up something that had that on it? I don't know, dude. I don't know. What do you mean in one of my videos I gave my home address? Yeah, that's actually pretty stupid on my part. I need to be more careful. Seeking the Truth says Josh Who TV, Brian. Yeah, I went on Josh Who TV. I'm actually subscribed there. Check out Josh Who TV as an alternative to YouTube. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Why don't you guys hit me up on Discord after this live stream? I'll put a link in the description right now. If you want to voice chat with me and other people in the chat room, I will put my Discord link in the chat box right now. Well, in a second. My computer's being slow. Oh, back to Shamil saying your Twitter is my Brooklyn One. Yeah, go to my Brooklyn One. He really holds the cops' feet to the fire in Brooklyn. It's like when the cops are double parking and you're videotaping them being hypocrites. It's classic. The reason I find that humorous is because I just can't stand when somebody's going to sit there and be a hypocrite. All right, I'm copying this link from Discord, so when I end this live stream, I'll hop in there. I'm gonna blitz. By the way, I'm gonna get ready because I'm gonna blitz it so that you guys can see it. This is my Discord. Oops. I think it's appearing on there. Wow, my computer's slow. When I live stream, really clogs stuff up. Okay, that should be on there. That's good enough. I'll do it a little bit later too. But that is my Discord link. If you click on that link, if you're not a part of Discord, just sign up and just join. It's free. All that stuff's free. And then I have a chat, a voice chat called Shooting the Breeze. And the only rule that I have in there is if you're not talking, that you hit the it says error. If you're not talking, you mute your mic. That way there's no chaos and people aren't talking over each other. That's the only rule I got in there. You can say whatever you want to. You can cuss me out if you want. Just wait your turn. All right. So Seeking the Truth, Josh Who TV. Thanks, man. Appreciate the super chat. Lala Doodle Incarnate, George Carlin. You have no rights. Stand up. Yeah. If you haven't seen George Carlin do the stand up about government and the euphemisms we use to take the edge off of the truth of what's really going on, really, really good stuff. That guy was a deep thinker. Wish he was still with us. He was quite good and very funny. That's from Ho Operator. Thanks, Ho Operator. No, that was from Lala Doodle Incarnate. And Ho Operator says, read the fourth vow of the Jesuit order. Maybe somebody can type that out for me. I'm not familiar with that. Thanks, Ho Operator, for the super chat. And then Regneris 22. Thank you for your dedication, commitment, influence. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks. That means a lot. It's very encouraging. Bentley Sophie says, brainstorm on this. Do you think that registering a vehicle is a Fourth Amendment infringement? And I say yes. It's your own personal property. And registration is you asking government permission if you can use something that's yours. That's what it is. And you can't drive it on the road unless you pay your registration every year. That's extortion. They're extorting your money and threatening you and saying you can't violate this. And if you do, if we catch your property on the open road, the road that they extracted taxes from you to build, if your private property is found on the road, then we will steal your vehicle through impound. And that's happened to me because I don't have a habit of looking at my license plate and I expect that thing to come in the mail. When it comes in the mail, I just pay it because I don't want to be hassled. Um, but I didn't never came in the mail and I was 5 months behind. I have it all on video. Maybe I should put that video together one day. I've had a lot of people ask me if they can, if I can just compile that and put it together, and I'll try to find it and I'll put it together. I started one time, but I got involved in other things. So yeah, registering a vehicle isn't a violation of your Fourth Amendment. You're actually holding a gun. Any law, it's the opinion of a politician backed by the threat of force. What you're doing as government in the registration thing, and literally this is what it is. They're holding a gun to your head. The implication is there. It's always there. They're saying if you don't pay your registration and we find your car out on our public roadways, we are going to confiscate that thing. They're going to impound it. And if you resist, men with guns they'll pull out their guns and they'll arrest you. If you resist arrest, we're going to tase you. If you continue resisting, you leave us no choice but to kill you. So vehicle registration is extortion. They're extorting you. And it violates the golden rule. Forget about the Fourth Amendment. It violates the golden rule. You're doing to somebody else what you wouldn't want done to you. And people go, well, I expect to pay registration. Well, that doesn't make it right. The question is not, will you submit to something to not get hurt? In other words, you're just submitting under. The only reason I pay my registration, it's under duress. All this stuff's under duress. I don't want to be hassled by law enforcement. I don't want my car impounded again. Guys, they impounded my car. I was there. I was driving home. It was midnight. It was the impound. The car came the tow truck driver came around 12:30. The whole ordeal took like 15 minutes. They impounded my car down the street. I got up early in the morning to get it out of impound when they opened at 8 o'clock. That car was literally not sitting there for 7.5 hours, and I had to pay 200. I remember the exact price. $240.44 that cost me. They stole my money because I didn't pay the registration extortion. And that's what it is. It's a registration extortion. If you think about it, that's your property. That's the same thing with property taxes. It's really not your house. You're just renting it from the government. The moment the year you stop paying your property taxes, there's gonna be a knock at your door. Hey, you need to pay your property taxes. No, I'm not paying my property tax. Okay, fine. Men with guns will come to your house and go, you need to pay your property taxes. We're about to foreclose on your house. You can't foreclose on my house. I paid cash for it. Sorry, it's sitting on our property. If you don't pay, we're closing this. We're shutting this thing down, and we'll surround your house with as many men as it takes, as much time as it takes. But we're going to set an example for everybody in the neighborhood. They can't squeal out of their property taxes. Now, what if every one of us got together? If we weren't so divided, we'd all get together and say, screw this. We ain't paying property taxes. You want to get revenue? Get it from somewhere else. You're not getting it from us. Same thing with the registration. Cop pulls you over for registration and threatens to impound your car. What if 200 people showed up? What could they do? They're not going to arrest 200 people. The county jail does not hold that much. And then if we had an app on the phone, I'm serious about getting this. We need to design this. If you have any software developers out there, and we can create an app where it's an automatic alert system for your region, like it's got to be tailored to be regional. It's got to be close enough so that you can connect with people in your community. You're not going to push the button and alert somebody in California, from Oklahoma. But push that app button, and you only push that button. And this is where the reputation-based society comes in. You only push that button if you're being violated by law enforcement. Everybody shows up, boom. Boom. What are they going to do? What are they going to do the day that we all go, screw it? Okay, we may have disagreements, but we're united on this one thing. It is never right to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people. And the moment somebody does, tell me about it, because I got your back. You got my back, I got your back. Done. And then we all show up. What a world that would be, huh? Ain't no more extortion here. Registration. We don't do registration in this county. Well, how do you build the roads? Look at our roads. They're perfect. And it's all done voluntarily. We all get on the internet. It's a reputation-based system. It shows who gave what when, and there's plenty of money left over, and we're so meticulous about it. We get the right contractors. We don't waste money. We don't waste money on materials or some lame brain contractor. It's and oh, what about you do about disputes in your county? Oh, we have a dispute resolution organization. What's that? It's kind of like an insurance company. It's kind of like if you have a dispute between people, it's all contractual and it's all done on a voluntary basis. There's no extortion, there's no coercion, there's no theft. There's no government sanctioned monopoly on force and violence. Whoa, where do I sign? How do I get involved in this? Because see, every one of us in our daily lives are anarchists. We're all voluntarists. I've said this before. You get up in the morning when you want to get up. You wear what you're going to wear. You brush your teeth with the kind of toothpaste or whatever you want to brush your teeth with. You eat what you want to eat. There's nobody ruling over you, telling you what you can and can't do. But there is somebody taking a hefty chunk of what you're going off to work to earn. That sucks. 27%, 33%, 35%, 70% when you're in a particular tax bracket, marginal tax rates, and it's so convoluted and complex and immoral, man. Period. It's immoral. So thanks Bentley Sophie for that question. Do you think registering a vehicle is against the Fourth Amendment or Fourth Amendment infringement? Absolutely. It's totally a violation of the golden rule. It's extortion. It's theft. It's a law enforced at the barrel of the gun. That's the bottom line. Walter White, yeah, man, keep going. I'm still stuck at work. I got a wage slave job too, man. That's why I try to get all these live streams out on, at least 2 days a week when I'm not working because I can't do it at work. Do you listen to Jesse Lee Peterson? I've heard some of his stuff, and I'm subscribed to his channel. And I got a lot of heat when I came out against Jesse Lee Peterson the other day for what was it? I just held him to task about something. What was the video? I can't even remember now. I can't remember what the topic was. I'm gonna try to pull it up. I had a disagreement about him. I like everybody, man. I mean, I'll talk with anybody. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what they're just. I know Jesse Lee Peterson's a statist. I know he's for Trump, or at least he was up until a couple of days ago. Let me see. I'm gonna try to pull that Jesse Lee. I lost. I love this, man. I'm gonna show you another thing that YouTube's doing to me. I lose subscribers every day on my 500,000 subscriber main channel. Let me see. Jesse Lee Peterson. What did I do on him? Man, I can't believe the stream didn't break tonight. Are you guys good? Is it buffered? I heard some people say that it was buffering a little bit. Shoot, can anybody remember what I did to Jesse Lee? I do so many videos, I just can't remember. I'm having a brain malfunction right here. Perfect. No buffering at all. Cool. Wow, that's a switch. What was that Jesse Lee Peterson thing? I hate being in disagreement with somebody and I can't remember why I'm in disagreement with them. Anyway, I can't find it. I don't want to waste your time. Your tax rate is crap. What is it, Brad? Brad A, the mechanic. What is your tax rate? Percentage wise? Yes, John Wayne and Kathleen Hepburn. Oh, is that from earlier? From Rooster Cogburn? Katharine Hepburn was in that, wasn't she? It was like in the 1970s. I remember being a little kid, and I don't know why. I remember the shoes I was wearing when my dad took us to that movie. It was called, I think it was called Rooster Cogburn or something like that. Or maybe Rooster, I don't know. Maybe it's titled something, but I remember seeing it. It was like a Western thing. 30%? Jeez. Think about that. A third of your life, if you're taxed at 30%, a third of your life that you spent away from your family so that you could provide them with food, clothing, and shelter is just stolen from you. It's not even stolen, it's extorted because if you don't pay, they're gonna lay the force on you, man. Jeez. So Walter White says he's stuck at work. Instigator says, do you listen to Jesse Lee Peterson? I have listened to some of his stuff. And like I said, I would have him on a live stream and we could talk about why he backs Trump and why he's of the statist mindset. I'm always willing to talk to people about that. Bentley Sophie says again, I should have recorded my encounter the other day, but they pulled me out of my truck and disarmed me for no registration. Oh man, I'm curious about that story, man. Maybe you can tell more in the chat here, or you can go to the Discord voice. I'm interested to see that. Did they disarm you, as in they took it out of your seat or out from under your seat, or did you have your firearm on? Wasabi Ninja says, you give up your true title manufacturer statement of origins MSO true title when you register it for a state title, fake title. I've not heard that, but I'll look into it. Thanks for the super chat. Instigator One also says, I also make AR 80% lowers. My company name is Iconic Industries Incorporated. I would like to send you one of our products if you don't mind. That'd be awesome, man. Hook up with me on I'm totally into AR-15s, man. I love that. I love that firearm. Hook up with me on contact@highimpactflix.com. I drop the ball on that sometimes. I need to check my email more often, but it's contact@highimpactflix.com. Yeah, that'd be cool, man. I'll showcase your stuff on my channel. Thanks. I am Matty Ice. I appreciate that. Let me get another super chat. Snapzilla Gorilla. How could you not like that as a YouTube handle? Snapzilla Gorilla. I know you like to collab with statists that have some sense to push them over the edge, but I'd like to do a live with you at some point. I've been speaking about abolishing government rule for years. Cool, man. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Do you have a channel, Snapzilla Gorilla? I'm assuming you do since you have a handle. I'll check it out. 447 still in here. Thanks for hanging on, guys. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? I'm pretty much good. I'm going to check. I'm going to clear out one more of the super chats, and then we can head out. Yeah, that's it. I'm up to date. Oh, Brad just sent one. Let's see. Come and take your lady riding. It will do both of you a lot of good. Nice time to reflect. Yeah, that's cool. When I was in 2003 or four, I bought a CBR 929, a Honda CBR 929 RR. It was a great bike, but I was riding one day and I was thinking, you know what? I got a family. I need to I need to not kill myself in this thing. So I'm a little bit more measured in my fun times. We need to start another Liberty Bell system like what was in Alaska, nationwide, bigger than NRA. Liberty Bell system. Is that what Schaefer Cox started? Did he start something called a Liberty Bell app? If he did, that would be Liberty Bell system was used by Schaefer Cox. Okay, cool. That's Brad Ewings. Thanks, man, for that super chat. Yeah, that is exactly what I want to do. That's the perfect app name too, Liberty Bell. It's like you ring the bell for Liberty, and then everybody comes around. Like you're pulled over on the side of the road. You happen to be in town. It's like, hey, I'm a mile from there. Come on, kids, load up. Let's get out there. And all these people show up. What are they going to do? Like, it wouldn't work if just 2 or 3 people showed up, or maybe it would. But if just 2 people showed up, it wouldn't work. But if the guy who was pulled over did not do anything wrong, he didn't commit a crime, and he got pulled over, and 10 people showed up. I know I'm just like fantasizing when I say 1 or 200 people, but if 10 people showed up. Holy smokes, man. The Liberty Bell app would be a game changer. And of course, like if we developed it, it would be totally free, like ad free and everything, because you wouldn't want ads to pop up and then it get in the way of the functionality of it. That's something that I definitely am interested in doing, the Liberty Bell system. Goldwing, oh man, those things are so nice. Goldwing time. Matthew Davis says, hi, I like your videos. What do you think of Milton William Cooper? Bill Cooper? If you watch any of Bill Cooper stuff, as a matter of fact, Behold the Pale Horse, I sent that out in PDF probably about 2 months ago to everybody on my email list, which that reminds me. That guy knew his stuff. And if you know anything about Bill Cooper, he literally predicted that time in September, and I got to say it like this because of censorship, that time in September in the year 2001 in New York, something happened with buildings. He literally predicted that and named Osama bin Laden like 6 weeks before it happened. Pretty uncanny. and way beyond coincidental and interesting stuff. Good, really good stuff. So, guys, do me a favor. There's 432 of you in the room right now. I am really trying to get like circumvent all this censorship stuff. So if you can do me a favor in the links below, subscribe to my private email list. It's free, guys. Everything that I will ever give away, even if I give away like fitness advice or dietary advice or anything like that, it's always going to be free. If you guys want to support with $1 or $2 a month on Patreon, hey, that's awesome. But I'm here to just like better the pool of humanity while I'm here on this earth. Who knows? I may not be here tomorrow, but as long as I'm here, I want to do my best to help you guys. If you want to kick back and do, $1 or $2 a month on Patreon or PayPal or whatever, I appreciate it. But just subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. In the next 2 or 3 weeks, I plan on revamping that whole site to make it easier to navigate and just provide like a one-stop shop website of cool tools like where to find, the best, most accurate weather, keeping an eye on NASA, what's the dollar worth, what's the price of silver, just all this stuff in one just easy to find stuff. I have a lot of those buttons on there right now. Like you can look at Ventu sky and the direction of the wind and when a hurricane's coming. And I actually got an idea from a couple people who do weather, like Mike Morales YouTube channel. He's got a small YouTube channel. You want to check it out. He's got a lot of good stuff on there too. So shout out to Mike Morales and who's the other guy? Weather War 101, another good one. But I noticed on Weather War 101, he hasn't put out videos in a long time. I wonder what happened to him. All right, so are we done? Are we good? Let me see. Let me go through all my tabs and make sure I got everything for you. What's trending on YouTube right now? Pro Jared is trending. Crafted by Carbon, Roy Moore is trending, and Deutsche Bank is trending. Deutsche Bank says that President Trump, I don't know, it cuts off. And then Axios is trending. I only have 7,902 followers on Twitter. So if you guys also want to go over to my other social media. That way, if I get cut off on YouTube, and guys, it's just like a matter of any day now. I wake up every morning, I've told you guys this before, expecting not even to have a channel. They're doing some screwy stuff on YouTube. So the reason I want to kind of use this platform to springboard onto other platforms and not put all my eggs in one basket is because of the fact that I got my main channel shut down last May for 7.5 months for no freaking reason. I was in good standing. It's like, what is that? You build a channel and they could just take it away from you for no freaking reason. Just say you engaged in hate speech and not specify. Just garbage. So just sign up. Follow me on Gab, Twitter, and I say follow loosely. You guys aren't my followers. You're my fellow human beings. We're in this together. We're on this journey together. So I'm just using followers because that's what they use. But just follow me on Twitter, Gab, Get Dissenter, which is produced by Gab, which I may do a live stream all about Dissenter. You got to get Dissenter on your browser platform, because what it is let's say Fox News or CNN keeps you from commenting. They disable comments on their YouTube channel or any URL. It doesn't matter. Any URL you can go to, you can leave a comment on that anybody who's got Dissenter can see. So let's say Fox News and CNN disable their comments. You can literally still leave comments. It's kind of like, let me just show you. Brian Babin's TAPS Act. Remember Dan Crenshaw said that he came out on Twitter saying, I didn't sign any red flag law bill. And the TAPS Act is not only red flag, but red flog. They're coming to flog you. It's red flag on steroids is what the TAPS Act is. And Dan Crenshaw is a co-signer, a co-sponsor of that law. So Brian Babin, I got to show you this center. And it's so easy to use, guys. I'm not technologically advanced. And if I can use it, anybody can use it. So let me find his let me just say Brian Babin TAPS Act. Just pull it out. God, the dishonesty of these people, man. Okay, let's see. Yeah, he's still got the comments disabled for it. Okay, so let me show you. Shoot, why is my computer going so slow? Come on, Nelly. Come on, Nelly. Come on, 423. Okay, just stay around, guys. You're gonna want to see this. This is so cool. Okay, this is Brian Babin's. I'll just show you. I am on Brian Babin's YouTube channel. Here it is. Let me get my cursor over here. Okay, here's Brian Babin. Look, this is his YouTube channel, and this is his Threat Assessment Prevention and Safety Act. HR 838 is what it's called in Congress, and this is his summary. And listen to what he says. Listen. Uh-oh. What happened to my sound? Oh.
Something in common.
Okay, listen to how good he makes the sound. Politicians are just salesmen, man. Listen.
Mr. Speaker, all of these horrifying events on this non-exhaustive list have something in common. Every single one of these attacks was carried out after someone close to the killer observed and reported concerning behavior to the authorities.
Note the music, all the piano crescendo music playing in the notes that cause it evokes emotion, so you let your guard down. It's all nice, and it's just really, oh my God, Brian Babin is out for our best interest and our safety. Listen to him.
The good news is there is something that we can do to fix this.
A translation, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
I gave that speech on the floor of the House of Representatives just 12 hours before the tragedy at Santa Fe High School, only 15 miles outside of my congressional district in Texas. Targeted violence has taken the lives of thousands of innocent Americans. This crisis is impacting our country indiscriminately. In the most powerful and innovative nation in the world, there's absolutely no reason that we should not feel safe in our schools, where we work, or the places where we worship, or anywhere else in the community where people gather. Americans want...
This is the sales pitch of the century, guys. He's just building you up. It reminds me of that. Babe, what was that thing called, that chopper thing from the 1980s? What was it called? The chopper thing? Yeah, remember you put the vegetables in it, and it was called the... Yeah, the slap. It was called the slapper. I don't know. Do you guys remember that? It's like the best 1980s commercial. It was called the slapper. You put like chives and just vegetables in it. You slap it, and it's got this little blade that just chops things up, and it's got this little dish in it. You can just pour it on your salad. Miracle Chopper. Yeah, the slapper. You guys remember? I might play that video. Just that's what I think of when I think of Brian Babin or any politician that gets up there trying to make this big sales pitch for this thing. It's like they're building up, about to build you up for the TAPS Act. Remember, it's all for your safety. This is how it works. Guys, that's what politicians are. They're freaking salesmen. And listen to how he delivers it.
I believe that we found one. In 1981, an assassination attempt was made on President Ronald Reagan. The U.S. Secret Service began studying individuals who had either attacked or come close to attacking public officials. That study led to the process of identifying, investigating, assessing, and if necessary, mitigating threats posed by those who may be on a pathway to violence.
Come on, just get around.
A process called threat assessment and management, and it works. Since the attack on Reagan...
Here's the thing. Let's say it does work. I don't care. Is it right? Is it moral? It doesn't matter if it works. If you can save 200 extra people a year, if you're doing something immoral that's going to kill more people by implementing it, it doesn't matter. Pragmatism is no excuse for trampling over somebody else's rights. It doesn't matter if it works or not. Is it moral? Is it right? Is it upholding and championing the cause of individual liberties? So I'm not going to play the rest of this because it's pathetic. It's just super pathetic how basically what he might as well say if he was honest, just surrender your Fourth Amendment rights because we're coming in there with these red flag laws on steroids. But if they really believed their argument was unassailable, you know what they would do? They would allow comments. But look, there's no comments. Comments for this are disabled. And not only that, you can't like or dislike. I put a dislike, but it doesn't register. So you can't see how popular or unpopular it is because they want to hide behind this narrative of 90 to 95% of Americans are for this bill or 90 to 95% of Americans support universal background checks. Well, here's what you can do. See this little tab I got up here on this corner of my screen? I don't know if you can see it. That's the dissenter icon. And you pull this up right here and it brings up a screen It says, welcome to Dissenter. I'm not logged in right here, but once I log in, you can literally leave a comment on any URL. It doesn't have to be this one. It doesn't have to be on YouTube. Any URL. You can do it on somebody's website. You can leave a comment and there's nothing they can do about it. That's the free market. And it comes from Gab. It's dissenter.com. It's free. It's awesome, man. You can leave a comment. Matter of fact, let's all go. I'll leave this link in the description right here. And we'll all go to Brian Babin's TAPS Act website or his link, his URL on YouTube. And we'll just leave our own little comments. So right now there's 16 comments. Let's see how many comments we can get that up to. There's 300 and something people in the room right now. 299 people in the room. Let's leave a comment for good old Brian Babin. I'll leave that link in the description. I hope I remember that. So when I get done with this video, I'll leave the link in the description. We'll go over to Brian Babin's site and we'll let him know what we think about this Threat Assessment Prevention and Safety Act, HR 838. So guys, I really appreciate I lost 200 people for some reason on that. It's like, oh, Brian Babin. All right, guys. I think 2 hours and 5 minutes is enough. Wow, I did not really expect to go over this. Do you guys want me to? Oh, something I asked the audience the other day. Is everybody in here interested in, or most people interested in, just hanging out one night, maybe next Monday or Tuesday, and listening to Bernie Sanders on the Joe Rogan podcast, and let's just tear him up. We can stop and we'll just kind of talk. It'll be fun. You guys want to? Yes. Okay, in between now and then, I'll try to get my OBS and everything good. If it's not working on my computer, I'll try to get another computer or use my girlfriend's computer. But it would be so fun. Oh yeah, let's do a call-in show. That'd be fun, Slim Frank. I got to figure out how to do that. Like I said, I'm pretty technologically inept. Oh, a downvote on that. Brian is Project Mockingbird. I am. Wow, I'm Project Mockingbird. I like what Einstein said. They said accusation without substantiation is the height of ignorance. How am I Project Mockingbird? When you come out against the Zionist international banking cartel, I don't know how you could, because you're basically putting the axe to the root of the tree. Google Hangouts. Brian's high on meth again. Yes, Bernie chat. That would be so fun, guys. I'm telling you, it would be so freaking fun, because he's always saying something that's going against individual liberties. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? Universal health care will help everybody. I don't care if it costs $70 trillion. We can do it. LOL, Bernie. Dude, Brian, are you serious about what? If he's Mockingbird, he's doing it wrong. Who said that? Marissa Daniel. He's the only one. God, he's the only one in the CIA that's doing Operation Mockingbird wrong. I think we need to get rid of him. It's like, hey, did you read about that joker that they just hired down in Operation Mockingbird sector? What's his name? Yeah, Brian Young. He's got this YouTube channel, High Impact Flicks. Man, he's doing it all wrong. We're supposed to be desensitizing and reprogramming these people. What's he talking about the Federal Reserve for? Dang it. Joe Rogan talks a lot about the CIA conspiracy. It's funny how he did an about face on the moon landing thing. That's interesting to me. McDeath shirts. Oh, yeah. All right. Anthony Brian Logan says Ilhan Omar allegedly a home wrecker and corrupt. Go check out Anthony Brian Logan. If you do, tell him High Impact Vlog sent you. Hey, I appreciate you guys hanging out, guys. Brian the Younger. You guys have a good night. All right. 2 hours and 8 minutes. Thanks for hanging out. You guys have a good night.